Hey there, this is Alula West Deluxe. Thank you so much for joining me in another video, or if you're new here, a very warm welcome to you and thank you for joining us today. We're talking all about the Louis Vuitton Fall/Winter 2024 women's wear collection in today's video. This collection was presented just yesterday as I'm recording this video in Paris on the 10th anniversary of creative director Nicolas Ghesquiere's first ever debut collection for Louis Vuitton, Fall/Winter 2014. So let's take a look at both the show and the collection. Of course, if you're here to see what bags we can expect in Louis Vuitton stores this fall, I will be covering that towards the end of this video. If you've watched my runway reviews in the past, you'll know that I always like to start out by talking about the show and how this collection was presented. I had very high hopes for this show, not only because it marked the 10th anniversary of Nicolas Ghesquiere's tenure as creative director for Louis Vuitton women's wear, but also because of the letter. I love a runway show that tells a good story, and with the letter previewed before the show, I thought this would be the story that would be told in the runway show. So let me give you some context if you're not familiar with the letter. Prior to his debut show for Louis Vuitton, Nicolas Ghesquiere left a typewritten note for all of the guests attending that show, and he spoke of his immense joy and a new day at Louis Vuitton. Here is an excerpt from that letter that was given to all the guests at his debut show. Now at the 2024 show, 10 years later, Nicolas Ghesquiere left another typewritten note very similar to his note from 10 years ago. And again, this typewritten note was left for all of the attendees at the 2024 Fall/Winter show. I thought this would play into the storytelling and the presentation for the new collection. However, I was wrong on that point. I always enjoy a show that tells a story, and Nicolas Ghesquiere is certainly capable of telling a story through the presentation of his collections. However, I thought that was lacking in this show. I didn't really get an overall clear story from this. There was the huge light installation. It was very big. It was very impressive. However, I didn't really see how that fit into this story. I didn't see how the letter fit in. And I also didn't see a story told through the pieces in this collection. Of course, there were references back to his previous work over his tenure at Louis Vuitton. A few examples that jump out for me right away were the trompe l'oeil bags, the Alma and Look 1 in particular. Right off the bat, this was a clear reference to the time trunks of 2018. But other than these one-off individual references, I didn't see an overall story being told. But that's not to say I hated the collection. I actually really enjoyed many of the looks in this collection, and I think individually the looks, and especially the ready-to-wear, was very, very impressive. The amount of detail that went into these, the embroidery, the sequins, the fur. I always love his use of mixing various textures and materials in the ready-to-wear looks. I think that's always very superbly done. Many of the looks in this collection I enjoyed. However, somehow when you put these pieces together, I did feel that the show was just, it was lacking in something. As one of my followers on Instagram put it, there was no wow moment for her, and I completely agree with that. Even though individually the pieces were beautiful, altogether I didn't get that awe-inspiring feeling watching this show. So those are my 2 cents. I would love to hear what you thought of this show if you watched it. If you didn't watch it, I will link to the full show in the video description below. Now let's take a look at some of the looks from this collection, and in particular the leather goods. what we can expect to see in stores this fall. I will periodically be looking down off screen. I am just referencing the photos from this show as I'm talking about all of the individual pieces. Starting right off the bat with look 1, we see a trompe l'oeil Alma, and this is very reminiscent, as I said earlier, of the Time Trunks collection from circa 2018. We see this shown on the runway in the Alma GM, a side trunk, a new pochette shape, as well as the square bag, and these look very, very similar to the pieces back from 2018. I fully expect to see these types of bags coming into stores this fall and winter. And another thing we noticed right off the bat, which was one of mine and I think everyone else's least favorite part of this collection, the big furry gloves. I did ask followers in my Instagram stories for their opinions on this show, and a lot of people called out the furry gloves. I heard references that they looked like the Grinch or Cat in the Hat, and I have to say, this was not quite my style. I did not fully appreciate these gloves. I hope they will not be produced and seen in stores because I don't think they will be very popular, and there will probably be a lot of excess of these gloves if they are produced. We did see some beautiful sequined gowns with these, if I'm being honest, atrocious gloves. The cut of these gowns, the way the fabric flowed and moved, and all the attention to detail with these sequins on the dress, I thought was very beautiful. We even saw this on the leggings in look 6. They're these really oversized reflective circles all over the leggings, and I just thought it was a beautiful use of texture and how it used light to reflect off of the clothing. I thought it was very well done. We also saw this in the shirt modeled by the very popular house ambassador Felix in look 9. For leather goods, he was modeling another side trunk, and this looks like it's in a gray monogram canvas print. I thought this was very interesting. We also saw gray on the Alma BB on the runway, as well as a Petite Malle. So I fully expect to see a lot of these gray leather bags show up in stores in the fall. We also saw a lot of monogram canvas bags on the runway. I absolutely love seeing monogram canvas on the runway. I know there's a lot of bag snobs out there who think that the Louis Vuitton monogram canvas is quote unquote basic or entry level, but according to Louis Vuitton, it is still runway worthy, and I absolutely love that. 3 monogram canvas bags that jumped out at me were the mini Lockit in look 28, a new version of a pochette in look 29, as well as a revamp of the Cabas tote, and I think we will very likely be seeing these bags in stores. I always love looking for these in the runway shows because these are revamps of older bags, the Lockit and the Cabas tote in particular. So if you're not looking to spend $2,000 to $3,000 on a bag, start looking now at the pre-loved market for these bags. You will be able to find them at lower prices now before the prices increase eventually when these bags are re-released in stores. So heads up if you're interested in a mini Lockit or a Cabas tote. If you're open to buying pre-loved, those are the ones to look for now. We also saw this new version of a pochette. It is a flat pochette. It is flat on both sides, but it does have some volume the way the canvas is folded out in the middle, the way it's modeled on the runway. I think this is really interesting. I would love to see more photos of this bag. I expect we will likely see this bag in stores because it did show up on the runway in several different materials, several different versions of this bag. So very likely we will be seeing this new version of the pochette in stores. Another new bag presented in this collection is this little full leather rectangular top handle bag. This bag is very vintage inspired. It's very reminiscent of bags from the 1960s and 70s. It's also very reminiscent of similar bags from brands like Hermes and Prada. For example, here's the Hermes Plume. This is one of their vintage designs from, I believe, the 1960s, and this bag has recently reappeared on the Hermes runway for spring summer 2024. Now we're getting it here at Louis Vuitton for fall winter. This is not a very unique bag, but if you're looking for a full leather, quiet luxury bag, this could be an option for you. Two other new bag shapes I quickly want to call out that we saw on this runway. One is an oval cylindrical shape. Here's a photo of it. I'm not sure exactly the best way to describe this shape, but it is a hard-sided piece. We saw this in monogram canvas as well as a few other materials on the runway. This will probably be pretty pricey if it is produced. Typically, the hard-sided bags start around $5,000. If it is produced, this will probably be in very limited quantities, mostly for the Louis Vuitton trunk collectors. There was also another shape which I thought was very interesting. It looks like to be about the size and shape of a hat box, but it is an octagon, and for the front closure there's a twist lock. I've never seen anything in the twist lock family and the twist line with this sort of shape. It seems a little random to me. If anyone understands any reference point for this bag, feel free to leave it in the comments, but this was a new shape we saw on the runway, so I am mentioning it here. I don't see this being very popular if it is produced. We also saw this side trunk in a new size on the runway. This looks like it's an east-west pochette size of the side trunk. We've been seeing a lot of new sizes of the side trunk released in this past year. You can get it anywhere from the micro size up to the side trunk MM. Now it looks like there's a pochette being added to the side trunk line, and this does look quite long, like it's not just a side trunk pochette, but maybe an east-west. The side trunk has been a very popular new line for Louis Vuitton with a lot of new sizes added, so it looks like we can expect to see a new side trunk pochette in stores by the end of this year. The show closed out with a new version of the Petite Malle, and I thought this was super interesting. The front of the bag looks to be made out of leather, and it features an embossed print of the Petite Malle. There is a lock on the front, but it doesn't look functional. Instead, to open the bag, there's a zipper across the middle of the bag that runs all the way around each side and the top of the bag. And then that separates the front with the back of the bag, which is made out of monogram canvas. So this is a very unique version of the Petite Malle. Let's take a quick look now at some bags from the Reese event after the show. We did not see these on the runway, but we should be seeing them in stores in September. Let's start out with two pieces from the Exceptional capsule. This is in celebration of Nicolas Ghesquiere's 10th year as creative director. We have this gorgeous sequin-encrusted mini Dauphine, as well as a Petite Malle Capitale in mirror monogram. We'll also be getting a few new versions of the Go 14 as part of this collection. Here we have one called the Go 14 Piercings in the front with a tweed in the back. Sorry, that one's a little hard to see. We'll also be getting the Go 14 PM in a few different new colors, including cream. Speaking of new colors, we will also be getting a new color of the monogram canvas. And this looks like the standard monogram canvas, but a little bit more washed out. Here we see it in the Keepall 45. Other styles we can expect to see in this color are the On The Go MM pictured here, the Matisse East West, and the new Vanity chain pouch. We'll also be getting a new version of the City Steamer. This has little shearling pockets added to the side of the bag. Here it is in black. We will also be getting this bag in gray and beige as well. Please let me know what you thought of the show. Will you be looking for any of these bags in stores this fall? If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. It's a really small, free, and easy way to help out my channel. And as always, come back every Friday for new videos. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.